Hello, hello, and good morning. If you have ever wanted to package up your knowledge and sell it, because each and every one of you have something that is knowledgeable or expertise that other people would pay for. So if you have ever wanted to know what that looked like or how you could do it, how you could create a 6 or 7 figure business selling your knowledge, then you are in the right place. But more importantly, today we're going to talk about not only the opportunity to sell your what you know, but the shift that's happening in the marketplace. And it's a powerful one, and it makes our lives so much easier from a marketing perspective. And it is, again, much more dollars in our pocket. So we're going to talk about what that looks like. If you have a course already and you haven't monetized it to the degree that you would like to, this is going to be super powerful for you. If you are just getting started and you know you have an expertise that you would like to sell, this is going to be powerful for you. If you're just not sure, I hear everybody else doing it, but I'm not sure if it's for me. Again, this is going to be powerful for you. So excited that you're here. As you guys are coming in, just give me a shout out. Where in the world are you? Chuck, this is going to be powerful for you. Okay. So I'm excited about this for you. Paul, this would be powerful for you as well. Good morning. Good morning. I recognize some of the names that I know because you guys have come through some of my courses before. So I know that this could be something that would be super, super beneficial for you. Okay, so a couple of quick housekeeping things. We do giveaways on every show, and today's no different. And I'm going to do something slightly different today because one, we usually have a guest, and we're not going to do a guest today. It's just going to be me sharing knowledge with you guys today, and more importantly about what the shift that I see in coming. It's not coming; it's here, but not very many. Almost nobody is doing it yet. So this gives us an edge. So today the giveaways are going to be slightly different. We're going to do what I call grab bag. So we're going to choose 2 winners, and whoever wins, I'm going to tell you how you enter to win in just a moment. But whoever wins is going to get to go over to Kim.store and just pick something. Pick whatever it is that you want out of the store. That way you get what you want, and I'm not just giving you whatever I think you would like. Does that make sense? So we're going to call it Grab Bag Day for the giveaways. And if you want to be entered to win, we call it our Wheel of Wow. So everybody that drops in with what we call aha moments, which are things that like, wow, I didn't know that, or I knew that, but I needed to hear it again. Just drop in hashtag aha in that area, and we'll put you in the Wheel of Wow, and we'll enter you. We'll pick the winners there at the end. Also, if you've never been on one of my shows before, let me introduce myself, and I would love it if you would introduce yourself. My name is Kim Garst. I love helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses using digital and social media, getting ready to take a whole different approach, restructuring my business totally, which I'm going to give you a little vision into that today, and why I'm doing it. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But if you're new, just drop in hashtag new in the comments. I will wave to you and say hey. And don't hesitate to connect with one another. Don't hesitate to ask questions. If you have questions, we'll try to answer all the questions as they come through, or I'll certainly circle back at the end. So I want to just say hey to a few people. Hey, Donna, glad you're here. Malaya, I'm so glad you're here. Am I saying that right? Malaya or Malia? Sometimes I always I hope I'm not butchering people's names. Lisa, hey Lisa, good to see you. We have Alistair. What a beautiful name from Jamaica. Elaine is here. Yay, I'm so glad you're here, you guys. Charles is from Pittsburgh. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. And not only is Charles from Pittsburgh, but he's over on LinkedIn. So that gives me a great lead in to say something amazing about our sponsor. Our sponsor is Restream. Restream is a live streaming tool that allows you to go live in multiple locations at the same time. So for example, right now we're live in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, as well as LinkedIn. It's a credible tool. It's super easy to use, very intuitive. You can use it from your desktop. And the best part is you can get a pro account for free for 7 days. So simply head on over to kimgarst.com/restream. Give it a go. If you decide you want to use it long term, you can get a 25% lifetime discount by using, I think it's KimGarst20. We'll have 25 maybe. It's in the details are in the down under. There, Rhonda just pulled them up posted them for you. So 25% off. Go to kimgarst.com/restream. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen, and we're going to go through this. So part of this is I'm just going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about this space and I'm going to tell you why I know what I'm talking about. Okay. I've never wanted to really toot my horn. If you guys have been on my shows before or been in my community for any length of time, I kind of struggle with that. But in this case, I think there is power in telling you a little bit about my background and why this is such a powerful opportunity for you guys now. So let me share my screen real quick. Get it pulled up here. So we're going to talk about how to grow a profitable 7-figure business selling what you know. And I'm going to show you the path to that, not just like theory. I'm going to show you how little it actually takes to have a 7-figure business. Now, I'm also not going to blow smoke up your tush and say this is going to happen, next week. I'm going to give you a path to what it's going to look like based on a timeline. Okay, so let's get into it, and we'll start figuring out all the pieces. So I have a question for you, and feel free to answer any questions that I ask. Feel free if you feel it, oh my gosh, yes, I feel that is so me. Ask those questions or drop in. I've experienced that. I'm going through that. I need a solution for that. Feel free to share your what's going on with you. But I think there's so many people who wake up every day and they're discouraged because they're not where they want to be, financially or otherwise. I think sometimes we do things in our businesses that, don't bring us joy. You may be, some people, I think, even with social media, is you feel like it's drudgery. It's like, golly, do I have to do these things? I don't want to do these things. Or if you're looking at your bank account and you're like, man, I can't afford XYZ, you worry about the money coming in, right? It's a constant struggle. So if that's you, again, there's no judgment here, but I feel like there's a lot of people who are in that boat who are just either they're financially, they're at a place where they're okay financially, but they're not really happy there, or they're not financially where they want to be and they're not happy there either. So it can be a lot. So my hope today is that I can change that dynamic for you by showing you a simpler way. Because like I say, there is a better way. And I've had to figure this out. So I've been online and owned an online business for 30 years. And I'm going to share some of the types of businesses that I've owned so that you understand that I get the struggle, that I've been there, I've done it. And when I'm saying that I've built these businesses, I've built them to either 6 or 7 figures. So I've owned an agency. My very first business when I started back in the day was a web design business. And, I'll never forget, my husband came into the dining room one day because that's where my office was. And he's like, do you know how much money you've made this year? And I'm like, I have no idea. He's like, you've made $1 million. I'm like, no. It was that moment, I did not envision that would ever happen to me, ever. That was not where I started. I was just like, I want to earn a little extra money. So the thoughts of making seven figures seemed surreal, unrealistic to me. It was like, no way that I'll ever be able to get there. I didn't aspire to that. And then when I got there, it was like, seriously? Really? But the point is that agencies have their own challenges, and some of you may own agencies. And when I say agency, I want you to understand that even if you're a solopreneur, you could be labeled an agency. If you're doing services, done for you services, you are an agency of sorts. You're more, I would say, a boutique agency, if you want to, label it. I own a small boutique agency now. I take on a few clients that I want to work with. And we do a variety of things for those people. But the point is that agencies come with their own challenges, and they are, if you're a solopreneur, they're not scalable without hiring or raising your prices. That's really the only two ways to scale that. There's membership sites. I've built several membership sites. My most successful was my Inner Circle. Back in the day, I had almost 2,000 people in that, paying me $47 a month. That was a fantastic revenue stream, but it was hard because it took a lot more people. It was a volume thing. I had to have way more people in that in order to get to a run rate that was pretty decent. Like, that's pretty good. You're like, if you do the math on that, right? You're like, I could live off of that. But there's also, models when it comes to online businesses. There's coaching and mentoring. I've done that. And this is probably where my passion lies, because I find that I really love working with people and helping them overcome their challenges. And this is basically where my business is going back to. I'm really going to get back to getting in the trenches and helping people directly. There's influencer marketing, where you build a community on social media and, people pay you to get in front of your community. Done that, been there. I've been paid, anywhere from like products where they're just giving me something to, like, I've got a deal right now with YASSS, which is a computer. They sent me their latest laptop. They gave me a small amount of cash, and they want a review for their new laptop. But I've had all the way up to, $100,000 opportunities with influencer opportunities. So that's doable, right? But challenges too, because you either have to go after them or they bump into you. They're not consistent. There's affiliate marketing. I've been there, done that. I have, in fact, I highly recommend this if you're blogging or, doing anything where you have consistent traffic coming to where you can recommend specific things. Like, I have a 6-figure revenue stream from my blog using affiliate marketing. So again, it's a model. I've literally helped over 1 million business owners worldwide to market their businesses online. And that gives me joy to know that. But what I really and I want you to hear this, because when I realized that my knowledge was more valuable than the services that I was offering, I've learned this over and over and over again with various business models over the years. Knowledge is power, and people will pay you for it. So going back to my very first business, this is where the first lesson I learned. I had done a website for these gentlemen. They were, one of them was a pilot for American Airlines. And, back then everybody was trying to jump into the online space and get their businesses. He didn't want to be an airline pilot anymore. He wanted to create another revenue source for himself and his family. So, anyway, built the website for them. And then they're like, okay, well, how do we market this? So I said, well, come down. They were in North Dakota. I think it was North Dakota, South Dakota, one of the Dakotas. And so he and his brother came, and they spent the whole day in my dining room. And we went through some things that they could do to start marketing their business. So at the end of the day, they say, okay, well, how much do we owe you? And I threw out what I thought was a ridiculous number. Like, then this was like, probably 25 years ago. And I was like, okay, let's see, $100 an hour. And they wrote me a check, like, right there. And my husband was standing in the dining room door, and he's like, I saw the light bulb go off at that moment. And that was really the first time that I realized, wow, what I know matters. People are willing to pay me for that. So, and I've learned it so many times. When I first got into social media, I was just marketing a business, and people were like, well, how are you doing that? So that's how my business went in the social media direction, because people wanted to know how I was doing the social media thing. So I say this because I want you to understand that each and every one of you know something that someone else will pay for. And knowledge, it could be literally, it could be knowledge, it could be know-how, it could be a system, it could be skills, it could be expertise. All of those things are in high demand. Um, and I'm going to back it up with stats. Okay. So the e-learning market is going to surpass $75 billion in the US alone in 2026. That's just a few years away. And COVID like threw a massive accelerator on that. There is stunning stats out there about how much content's being consumed and how much money people are actually spending for information. I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. In 2020, now get this, the mobile learning market has risen to over $22 billion. By 2027, it's projected to reach $80 billion, y'all. So if you think that there is not a market for what you know, you are wrong. I mean, there is going to be a huge, and it's not, and I think this is where the value proposition of what I'm getting ready to share with you is going to be so powerful, because knowledge is one thing, but the shift is really what I really want to focus on going forward, so that you can see that this is a bigger opportunity than just the knowledge piece. Okay. You can transition what you know into a business that generates, $10,000, $50,000, and yes, even $100,000 a month. Now, this is not a get rich quick scheme. And I'm not telling you like, hey, you're going to be able to make like millions of dollars. You can, but and I'm not saying you can't, but I'm not trying to push this as a get rich quick scheme is really what I'm trying to say. Um, you can either add this strategy to your existing business, as another revenue stream, or maybe this will become something new, a new way for you to package what you know, and it may be your entire business model. Okay. So again, there's an immense opportunity here. And that's really what I wanted to focus in on. Opportunity is knocking. So most of us, and I'm just going to give a quick litmus test, if you will. Most of us start our businesses at the end of the day for a why. What is our why? And feel free to drop in what your why is right now. My why when I started was, just to make a little extra money. I wanted to make an extra $200 a month to pay the car payment. That was my goal. My why is totally different now. My why now is to help others get to a place where their money that is coming into their families, into their bank accounts every month, is going to make a difference for their families. So it's, totally shifted because I understand where I was, and I know that a little extra money a month makes a big difference. And you have to start there. You can't just jump into $1 million business. If you can make $5,000 a month, you can make 10. If you can make 10, you can make 25. If you can make 25, you can make 100 K a month. So it's just a matter of putting the process into place to make that happen. So most of us start our business for time and financial freedom. Now, soak that in, in various levels, like, going back to my why initially, like, I didn't foresee financial freedom, but the financial end of it was a piece of it. I started my business because I needed some extra money. Most of us do, but the end goal is still the same. But this is the misnomer. And this is kind of like the joke is on us sometimes, is that even when we get to a level of success, we find that we end up with neither. We don't really have financial freedom, and we certainly don't have time freedom because our businesses consume us. And I think that is a big struggle. So I want to acknowledge a couple of people who are talking about their whys. Malaya is saying she wants to bring her husband home. He doesn't want to be in the workforce, or maybe she would like to have him at home, so he's not in the workforce. Chuck is saying his goal is to make money and serve people. Yes, always. And Anita is saying, my why, teaching how to attract your clients and make dollars. So that's going to be perfect. What I'm getting ready to share for you, Anita, is going to be a perfect marriage, because when you have a skill set or a knowledge base, this is going to be just again, this is a shift. I think we all need to step into it if we're selling knowledge or information. Um, I want to ask a couple of other questions. What would your life look like if you could sell an additional 5,000 to 15K a month? So Malaya is saying, I'm going to give you a moment to answer that question. So Malaya is saying her husband's a truck driver. He's gone a week at a time, and that's tough. That's tough on a family. My husband was in the military, and, on any given year, he was gone about 250 days out of 352. That's hard. Trust me. I understand that. um, so, um, whatever your why is, an additional amount, or even if you're not here yet, what if you're not at 5K a month, or you're not at 15K or 10K, or wherever in that spectrum, um, this makes a big difference. My $200 30 years ago would need to be probably more than that today, right? So what's a car payment today? $500-$600, or more, depending on the type of car you have. So the point is that either if you already have a successful business, having extra revenue coming in is powerful. Or if this is your entire business model, consistently being able to create this kind of revenue matters. And if you could do that every day, now you may say to yourself, Kim, really, please, I'm going to show you a path to do that. It's not as hard as you think. Okay. So and I want you to think about that in the context of, if I didn't have to do all the things that you have to do on social media, how much time are you spending on social media right now? I just want you to drop it in. Tell me, like, is it an hour? Is it 2 hours? And by the way, this is how much time are you spending creating content for social media, as well as how much time you're spending, like, watching TikTok videos or Instagram reels. I mean, there's no judgment here, but seriously, I want you to take a look at this, because we're spending so much time doing things that, do they really monetize our business? Okay. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do social media. I'm just saying, let's get real with it. Let's talk about it, because it's a problem. So if you didn't have to do all the things, all the social media stuff, if you didn't have to have a huge team, if you didn't have to blog every week, if you didn't have to write a book, because that's what some people say, oh, write a book, it'll be the door opener for all things. Or you don't have to use the live video if you don't want to. Many people are struggling. They don't want to get in front of a camera, right? Maybe you don't want to start a podcast, because, again, podcasts are powerful, but maybe that's not for you. Or you don't want to spend hours on Clubhouse or build a Facebook group. What if you didn't have to do all the things? Like, what would that look like for you? If you take a given day and you take out all the stuff that you're doing that is not driving revenue in your business, how much time would it give you? Soak that in. Feel that for a hot second. Like, just breathe in and say, would that be a relief? Own it. Feel it, because I want you to understand that you can do that. So I'm going to show you an alternative way. This will be perfect for certain types of people. This is going to be perfect for service providers who want to scale their knowledge, their skills, and expertise. So if you are doing web design, if you're doing graphic design, if you're a Facebook ads strategist, if you are any type of service-based business, that you are doing something for someone else, you have a structure, you have a system, you know how to do something specific, and you can teach somebody else how to do that, right? Maybe you're a coach, or you're a consultant, or a strategist, any kind of expert who wants to stop trading one-on-one time for a more scalable one-to-many model. This is going to be perfect for you. If you are already a successful business owner who wants to have a highly profitable and leveraged business selling what they know, this is going to be perfect for you. Or someone who already has a course or a program, but hasn't been able to really monetize it to the big dollars, this is going to be perfect for you. and I want to say this again because I really want you to hear it. I think a lot of times people think that they don't know something or they don't know enough. They're not an expert enough. But everybody has enough knowledge that someone else is willing to pay for. So I want to say loud and clear, and I want you and I want you to say, it, drop it in. I know something that someone else is willing to pay me for. So if people are asking you questions about your business or they ask you how to do something or, whatever, then that means you know something that someone else wants to know. Leverage, that's what knowledge gives you. It gives you leverage. And the missing component, though, and I'm going to break this down in a moment, is just that, the leverage piece. So many people are, trying to create information businesses, but they don't have the leverage. Okay. So that's the little crank that ramps it all up. And that's what I'm going to give you today. That's what I'm going to tell you. So this is the shift. And keep in mind, there is an F in that word, okay? Shift happens. So I've been online, like I said before, 30 years, and I have a knack for seeing the next thing. What is it that's happening? I've talked about this a little, but not in any formal training like this, where I think the shift that is happening is more of a done with you model. So I'm going to break it down though from the perspective of what's in the marketplace right now, and then what does that shift look like going forward. So there's the traditional model for training courses, the high-end training. It's the $997 or to the roughly 2,000 bracket, right? And how do people market that? They do the webinars. They do mostly webinars for this price bracket. That seems to be a very core strategy that people use, and then they sell into that. But how do they get people on a webinar? So let's just break this down, because this is the good, the bad, the ugly part of selling your knowledge. If you already have a list of people that you are going to sell your knowledge to, you send out an email series and you get people saying, yes, 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 I want this. So you have the whole product launch model, right? Where you launch it. Maybe it's a webinar, maybe it's just a series of emails, but it's work. Right? It's a lot of work that goes into that product launch. You scrape the cream off the top, from your list, assuming you have a list. You get people, maybe to the webinar. People sign up for the webinar. Most of them don't show up. So then your conversions are less, because if 100 people sign up and 25% is pretty average for active shows for a webinar. And then, okay, if only 25 people are there, and that really decreases the opportunity for conversions. Maybe you get 2 or 3 sales from that. So again, that's a lot of work. It's tough, but this is really where the rubber meets the road. And this is a misnomer. So if you see people saying, I did this product launch and I made, $1 million. Well, that's assuming that you could make $1 million off of your first product launch. The average revenue or profit, let me say this, even if you're making $1 million, your average profit for most entrepreneurs is in the range of 37 to 40%. So let's just say, from a $1 million launch, and we'll just round it up for math purposes, that person, whoever it is, made 400,000 instead of $1 million. Okay. So when people say they have millions of dollars when it comes to their product launches, do the math. It's really not that much. And why is it? What do you say in there, Kim? I don't understand. If they sell $1 million worth of stuff, why are you saying they're only making 400,000? Because there's a lot that goes into it. There's all the web design stuff. There's copy that has to be written, and most of them aren't copywriters, so they have to hire a copywriter. There's a team time. There's ad spend if there's paying for ads. There's a lot of financial input into that launch. So they spend a lot of money to make that money. Okay. But this is really where it breaks down. Even if you get the $1 million launch, right? The next time you try to sell into the same community, you've already scraped all the cream off the top. So, meaning all the people that, were super interested have already bought. But let me back up for a second. If I have $1 million launch and I make 400,000, I have to live off of that 400,000. I have to pay my team. I have to pay all my other bills for until I do the next product launch. Okay. So I want you to keep that in mind too. But again, this is kind of a broken model. So in order for my next launch to be successful, I either have to get into other people's communities or I have to build my list like mad, which means I have to spend more money. So are y'all getting this? Is this making sense to you? Okay, so this is heavy. This is work. It can be done, but it takes money to really get here. And for most, they fail because it's a little bit of a broken model. Then there's the $47 memberships. And this is a volume play. Now, memberships used to be very popular. I think that memberships still have a place today, but I think they need to be focused on a specific transformation or a specific um, topic, if you will. So I'll give you a quick example. My friend Shalene Johnson has Insta Club Hub and she is blowing it up. So she's charging, I think, $47 a month and she has like, I think 18,000 people in there. But one of the reasons she's been so successful with it is she has a massive community and she is constantly spending money to get more people into her membership. And it makes sense in her case. It's financially feasible for her to do that. But if if you don't have a community to sell into, that means you have to pay for that person to come into your membership. So how much is it going to cost you in paid ads to get new people into your $47 membership, which means that your profit margins are going to be smaller on the front side. Again, it's a volume play. It's just a little bit harder. There's free or low cost challenges. I've seen these work very well for people, but challenges again are a lot of work. There's the 7 to 397 digital products. I think there is a place for this, absolutely, but there's still a marketing element that most people are missing, and it's more difficult for them to actually create these sales consistently. And then there's, joint ventures where you may, collaborate with someone and you sell their stuff into your community. But again, what if you don't have a community? How's that going to work for you? So all of these have barriers to entry. So what's the future? What do I see on the horizon? What I see on the horizon and what I think is going to make not only our lives easier, but it's going to make the marketing of what I'm getting ready to share with you so much easier as well. So what I see on the future or in the future is done with you education. So I kind of stumbled onto this a little bit in the early days of COVID. I started creating small courses that I was delivering live. And what I found was that people loved it. They loved the interaction. They loved the community. They loved that they had direct access to me. And I loved that I was actually able to see the transformation. I actually saw them get whatever it was that they were doing done. But then even with this model, what I found was there was still a disconnect. The reality is, anything that you build takes time to develop, and you almost need to have what I call a pocket CMO in your pocket. You need help. You need long-term assistance because with marketing, nothing works 100% out the gate. So having feedback, like why are people not converting on my call, or why are people not, opting into my landing page, or, is my message off? How would you message this? So it's a constant need to evaluate what it is that you're doing until you get it to a place where it's actually converting for you. And in order for that to happen, you need help. You need a little bit of assistance. So let's say I want to go back. I mentioned this earlier where there not only is there so much need, and the stats are telling us this, but I want you to soak this up for a second. Stats say that small businesses are spending over $325 million every day on information. And that's just people like us, y'all. That just means all of us, we're small business owners, we're out there and we're paying money for information. Now, how many of you have paid money for information? Hands up. How many of you have bought a course? I mean, I know many of you have been in my courses before, so I know you've bought some of my courses. In fact, Vicki is saying, loved PDF to Profit, my favorite way to learn. So you're going to love this, Vicki, what I'm getting ready to share with you. This is going to be super powerful for you too. Most of us, I'd be willing to bet you that everybody that's listening right now, whether you're watching on the replay, you're live, or you are potentially even listening, if we had turned this into a podcast, point is that we've all spent money on information. And not only have we all spent money, more than likely, I bet you within inside of the next month, you will probably spend money on some sort of information. People are doing it each and every day to the tune of $325 million a day. Would you like a piece of that? Right? Okay, so here's the rub though. And this is what I found during my journey of working directly with people and being able to see that I was able to affect a bigger transformation by working directly with them, even if it was for a shorter period of time. That's the key. People are realizing that information alone is not going to get them where they need to go. And that's the magic sauce. This is where we're going, guys. And this is where the opportunity lies. People are looking for community. They're looking for coaching. And more importantly, they're looking for care. They're looking for somebody to be in their corner, somebody to cheer them on. Community is a part of that process, but it's a connected dynamic that gives us this opportunity and it gives us leverage. Okay. So that's why I've decided I'm going to start this design to scale. I'm going to break down what this looks like for you. I'm just telling you, this is my journey. I'm going to be sharing this with you. I'm not trying to sell you anything. So I'm not going into a sales pitch, but this is what I'm starting to do and this is where I want to focus. 10K, 50K, and yes, even 100K months with one consistent strategy is doable. What would your business look like if, like I said before, you didn't have to do all the things? If you had one thing that you had to focus on and one core strategy, what would your day look like? Wow. Think about that. Okay. So I want to show you a couple of things. Everybody thinks that $1 million is out of their realm. It is not. So now this is a traditional, like reverse engineer, like you can see the matrix going down this way and you can see it coming up, right? Obviously getting somebody to pay you $1 million. Okay. What would you sell that somebody would pay you $1 million for, right? Like, okay, so let's throw that one out. 10 people paying you $100,000. Okay. Again, that would probably be a high-end agency kind of deal. 100 people paying you 10,000. Okay, maybe that's coaching, consulting. 1,000 people paying you $1,000. Maybe that's some sort of a training program. 10,000 people paying you 100. The point is, the further down the units you go and the dollar amount, the more volume you have to sell to get to $1 million, right? So let's take a look at this. If you had to focus on one thing, one high ticket thing, when I say high ticket, we're gonna round it to $5,000. So this isn't going to be 10,000 or 100,000, or it's a pretty much a number where you might have to talk to people or you might not in order to get this. So I have a friend who has a funnel right now and she's selling $5,000 packages without having to get on the phone with people. Now, in my case, I'm going to get on the phone with people because I want to make sure that we're a fit, that this is going to be a good thing for them. But let's break it down. It's going to take approximately 16 sales. Actually, it's 16.66 or something like that. But I have a 666, that's like a devil sign. So, I don't go there. So approximately 16 sales is going to get you to at a month, 16 sales a month at $5,000 is going to get you to $1 million a year. So if you break it down like that, does that sound undoable? Now, I want you to absorb it in the context of maybe it's not doable like this year, but can I get there? 16 sales a month, $5,000. What would I have to do for that? Okay. Remember, keep in mind, this is knowledge. So let's break it down a little further. Let's say you have that, what would like $500,000 look like in your life? If you could do 8 sales a month, you could get to basically a $500,000 business. Could you do 8 sales a month at 5,000? Is that doable? Or you might say, well, I'm not sure that's doable yet, but okay, so let's scale it back down just one more time. Could you do 4 sales a month, 1 sale a week, and have a $250,000 business? Could you do that? Could you take 5 calls a week and sell one of those people? You could do that, right? Anybody can do that. So, and you could just keep going down. Like if you could sell 2 a week, a month, I'm sorry, 2 a month, then that means you've got an extra, $10,000 a month in your business. It doesn't take that much. Now, this is for $1 million. So think about this in the context of just getting to 6 figures, right? It doesn't take as much as you think it does to have a highly profitable, leveraged business that doesn't suck down all of your time and energy and suck the life out of you. So creating an education, so create the education is the goal. Whatever it is that whatever transformation you can affect for someone. So like if you can teach people how to build a highly convertible like website in a weekend or whatever it is. And then if you had a consistent way to sell it, that's the breakdown. Most people don't market their business, consistently. They don't have a consistent strategy for it. So therefore they wait for someone to bump into their stuff, or they share it on social media. Maybe they get a lead once in a while, but they're not consistently creating leads and talking with those people to see if they're a match. So this is the difference. This is where the magic comes into play. You can stop doing all the things too. You can stop struggling with all the stuff that you think you need to be doing in your business if you just have the one thing and the one strategy. So let's take a look. Let's break this down. 5 new clients a month. Let's say, okay, well, I can't get 5 new clients a month. Obviously, 5 new clients a month would be $25,000 if you're selling the $5,000 thing. I want to paint this picture because, again, everybody's goal might be initially, hey, if I could just make an extra $5K a month, I'd be happy. I'd be so happy. That's only one person a month. One person a month paying you $5,000. How about you want to make $10,000 a month? That's only 2 people. If you want to make $15,000 a month, it's only 3 people. And $5,000 is not something that is hard to sell. It's not like you're asking for, somebody's first child. You're promising a transformation, but this is really where where it gets magical. Not only are you giving them the knowledge, but let me break this. I'm gonna break this down a little bit more in just a second. It's going to start to come together because you're probably saying to yourself, okay, well, Kim, how's this any different than anything else? I promise this is going to make sense in just a second. But if you want to slow down and hop off the hamster wheel, maybe that's social media, maybe it's all the things, maybe it's the blogging, maybe it's the podcast, maybe it's all the stuff that you are currently doing. If you want to stop feeling constantly overworked and overwhelmed, stop feeling like you never really get ahead. Like even if you have a successful business, you look at your profits every month and it's like, man, I'm putting out almost as much as I'm bringing in. That is not a good feeling. Then I'm going to encourage you to leverage your expertise to start earning what you deserve by creating what I call a done with you training program. Now, this is where this is extremely powerful. And this is where the leverage comes in. It's the training. It's the knowledge that gives them the transformation. You're giving them, and you see a lot of these. You see so many courses out there where you get the training. I've done them. I've done trainings before where I'm sharing the strategy. I'm trying to get people to go do the thing. But where it breaks down is the implementation. They get to the tech. They're like, oh, I'm going to have to funnel for that. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to build a funnel. So you give them the training, you give them the implementation pieces that they're going to need, which is, maybe it's a funnel, whatever it is, maybe it's a tool, maybe it's the resources, maybe it's a checklist. It could be a combination of things, but you have to cover down on the implementation because that's where the breakdown happens. And then you commit to working with them for 12 months, a year, to get the transformation thereafter. So like for me, I'm going to be teaching people how to do what I'm just telling you guys about, how to package their knowledge, but it's bigger than that. How do they market it after they get it to a place where it is ready to sell consistently? So I'm going to make myself available to people because it's a process. It takes time. It takes time to build the content. It takes time to implement the action steps. And they need feedback. So this is the difference, guys. This is where your leverage comes into play. If you had 5 people you were working with. So let's just do the math again. 5 people paying you $5,000. That's $25,000. That's for the 1 month, but you can bring people in every month into this ecosystem. So this means that you have leverage all the time. You're always marketing this. You're always bringing new people in. Even if you bring 1 new person in a month, and then you commit to being there for them. You answer questions that they have. You make sure that you're giving them all the implementation pieces. And they have a community of people doing exactly the same thing. So this is the shift, y'all. This is the shift. And this is what I'm doing. I'm going forward with this full force ahead. I'm teaching people how to do this, what the pieces are, what the implementation looks like. Like I said, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but if I've intrigued you and you are interested and you want to learn more, then I would love to talk to you. And I'm going to give you just in a moment a way to book a call and see if you are even interested. If this is something that's like, wow, that makes so much sense. When I saw this model, I was like, and I had always done it, just the piece of it. I was always doing just the front piece where I was working with people to give them the knowledge, but then I wasn't sticking with them because they need that long-term assistance. They need somebody on the, kind of like that pocket CMO, if you will, that can help them get the results and ultimately scale those results. So I want you to think about this. Imagine focusing on one thing and one consistent strategy that's going to create $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. And trust me, if you find that you can do, if you're making $10,000 a month, then it's just a scaling thing, y'all. If you can make $10,000, you can make $100,000 a month. Now, will it happen in a year? Maybe not, but you can do it. You can get there. And again, at the end of the day, if you can get to 6 figures, then you could maybe get to multiple 6 figures. Maybe you get to $500,000, then you get to 7 figures. So the point is that this is doable for everybody and it's leverageable. And when I say one thing, you're marketing one thing consistently with one consistent strategy. A lot of the other stuff that you're doing can flip and go away, y'all. It can go away. So if this makes sense to you, and if you want to see if this is for you, you want to learn how to do it yourself, then let's talk. Go to kimgarst.com /game plan call. This is the first, I'm doing this for the first time, probably doing it a little bit messy. We're going to do a charter program. So we're only going to take a handful of folks. But again, if this makes sense, but I'm hoping that it makes sense because, like I say, this is the future as I see it in the education space or the online the online information space. Because how many of you, think about it, how many of you have bought a course, even paid several $1,000s for it? And the training is good. I'm not knocking the training. I mean, the training could be amazing, but you get in there and you're like, well, this doesn't fit my situation. Like, what do I do in this situation? Or, maybe it's 6 months down the road or sometimes several years later. And you're like, I didn't go through that course. Why didn't I go through that course? Like, I just felt like I was out there hanging by myself. I didn't have any support. This solves those problems. And people are there. They have realized that just paying for these high-end courses does not get them the results because they've done it. They've done it. And it didn't, they didn't do the work. So doing something like this where you are working with your students long term, they're going to get way bigger transformations, and more than likely they're going to re-up with you the following year. So talk about a customer, the lifetime customer, the value of a lifetime customer could be immense. acquire the customer first. And as long as you are working hard with them, they're going to love you and you're going to get transformations for people. So if you're after that, helping people, truly serving people, and then getting that transformation for them, work with them. I promise this is going to be a game changer. And so this is the model I'm going forward with. I see this as the future. If you agree with me, then come along with the ride because I am so excited to share this strategy with you. Not just the strategy, but all the implementation. What is it you need to do? What is it going to look like for your business? So having direct access to me every week to ask your questions that's specific to your business. Like maybe you don't know exactly what it is to sell. Maybe you don't know if your messaging is right. Maybe you need somebody to look at your landing pages, like, all the things that go into marketing. I'm your pocket CMO, y'all. Come on, let's do it. So, Deb, girl, book a call. We need to talk because you have exactly the knowledge for stuff like that, for a program like this. So Paul said, love it when Kim does all the teaching. Oh, thank you, Paul. So I need to do more of that. So I would just be interested to know, I bring on amazing people. Like last week, did Paul, Paul, I got your name in my brain, but did Joe Paluzzi like rock the house last week or what, y'all? Like seriously, I'm like, I love bringing amazing people to you guys, but I also love sharing what I know. So. And Allison says, I totally agree. People are looking for personal relationships. So I just got back. So I love that you said that, Allison. My friend Jody Millward, she gave me this sweatshirt. She had them created. It's got digital unicorn on it. In case you guys can't see that. So she had her digital. She trains digital. Facebook ads. She teaches people how to be a Facebook Facebook ads manager. And so she had her high-end mastermind students over in Orlando this past week. And so she invited me over and I went over and she gifted me with one of the things that she had made for her students. But the community, I heard this over and over again from the people that she had there. It was a very small group. They're like, that has been the most value add for us, has been having the connections with each other. And that goes back to, it's not just about whoever you're paying for their knowledge. Their collective as a whole is such an incredible, powerful, collaborative environment. I've seen amazing things come out of that community aspect, whether it's collaborations or whether it's support. Sometimes it's combining businesses because one person has a skill set that the other doesn't. Just amazing things happen through that connection inside of a community. All right. Well, so Vicki is saying, oh, good question, Vicki. So don't you have to add another thing at some point? So no, not necessarily. So my model, just so you know, is basically going to be the same for, it's going to be, but everybody's at different places. So like, for example, if somebody is already at a 7-figure business or close, they're got a fairly successful business, but they want to shift the model. They may want to go into my mastermind, and my mastermind will be more direct access. We'll have live events, we'll meet 3 times a year, and the scaling on a business like that will be it'll be a higher level. So not necessarily. You could have, if you're going to do the structure where, you're going to have, it's just different levels of business owners. So that's an option. So it just depends. Or, you don't necessarily have to have anything different. You can have the same thing. So what I mean by that is lots of times people's businesses, because they evolve, but having the direct access to you is really all they're after. They're wanting to know that they can come to you with their questions, whether it's related to whatever you've taught them or not. So like Vicki, when you were in my VIP, like we talked about all kinds of things when we had our VIP calls, and some of it had nothing to do with, PDF to profit or whatever. We dug in, and that's the value of having direct access to a mentor, somebody who can, get into your business, find out what direction you should go. That's a great question. All right. So did I miss any questions along the way? So I want to know, though, I'm curious, do y'all agree that this could potentially be, am I right? I just want validation, I guess. Am I right? Is this where we're going in the education space? Yes. So Chuck says, call back. Chuck, I'm serious. I am so excited. I was actually going to reach out to you anyway, because I'm like, this would be so perfect for Chuck, because I know you already have something that you want to sell and you just need the mechanism for it. So Anita says, totally agree. Yeah, I do. I've seen, like I said, I've seen a lot of things come and go, back all the way from, banner ads to even the shifts that are happening in social media. The reality is that social media and even paid ads, are getting less and less effective. So how do we shift? We've got to shift, y'all, or we die on the vine. And there's a lot of, like, I'm hearing in the space, a lot of people who've run traditional models in the past where they're selling high-end courses. Their courses are not selling like they used to. Why? Because I'm right. I hate to say it so bluntly, but I think I'm right. I really do. I feel like that people are over just buying courses. They need more hands-on, because the reality is that most people don't go through the courses. I'm just going to say it. Most people don't go through the content. You still need the content because that's what people buy. People buy content, but they stay for community. Write that down. People buy content, knowledge, but they stay for community. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to me today. We're going to pick 2 winners, and then I want you guys to go, whoever the 2 winners are, I want you to go pick out something on Kim.store where it's grab bag giveaway day. So whatever it is, pick it out, let us know what it is, and we will order it and send it your way. I know poor Rhonda, love her heart. She's trying to keep up with all the comments and stuff. Yes. So people buy content, but they stay for community. It's so true. I mean, I was listening to the ladies at the event that I was at, and many of them were like, I would sign up again just for the community. The knowledge is great, but the connection and the community is super powerful. So, it's true. Okay, yay. Okay, so Chuck and Anita won the grab bag. So go to kimgarst.com/winner, share all the details with us, and we'll get whatever it is you want ordered and sent to you. Okay, so just go. Well, there's one other step. You do have to go over to Kim.store, pick out what you want. Hopefully I didn't make this hard. I thought it was going to be fun, but now I'm like, ooh, am I making this hard? So Chuck and Anita, if I made it hard, I'm sorry, but I thought it would be fun to be able to pick out what you want versus me just saying, hey, here's a mug this week. This is what you're going to win. So pick out what you want, let us know, and we'll go from there. Awesome. So Paul says, awesome training. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I always appreciate you so much, Paul, for always tuning in. All right. So I love this. Look at this. So Tawana says, I love and want community. It's so powerful. I mean, especially I think right now, because there's just so many shifts and so many people are isolated and they need help. They need a community of people that they can tap into that's on the same road, that has the same struggles, that understands them. Like we were talking about this too at this mastermind event. We're like, we can't walk out our front door and talk to our neighbor. Our neighbor doesn't get us. Like they don't they have a traditional job, or, they're not, us. They're not an online entrepreneur, so it's a totally different dynamic. So having connection with people like you is a powerful thing. It's a very powerful. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Book that call if it makes sense for you, if you want to see if this is a fit for you. One thing I will promise you, I'm very honest. I will not, this is not about selling anything. I could sell nothing and be totally okay. The key is to help other people, really. Is this something that's going to help you generate revenue? And if it's not for you, I'll tell you. All right. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Stay safe. God bless. And we will see you next week, same time, same place. Let me see. Hang on real quick. I'll tell you, our guest next week is Erin Chase. Y'all, Erin, you're going to love Erin. She has built a fabulous business in the food service space. So recipes and like all kinds of cool things. You're going to be like totally, totally blown away by some of the things that she's done. So I will see you next week, same time, same place. Take care. God bless.